Hey guys, sorry about the audio if it sounds a little weird, but I'm also practicing some Brawl. If you do want to see live gameplay, let me playing Brawl. Check out my Twitch at BossDK23. Also, if you want me to make some Brawl gameplay, just raw gameplay, let me know. But you would have to suggest that at my gaming channel at Boss DK of Gaming, or check the description, which has my link tree. Anyways, so we're gonna be continuing. What if I did about 7 months or so? That is, what if Deku had a genderbend quirk? And due to how I uploaded it, I also made a mini movie of those two parts, since it was long enough to be like a good little bit of some time. Okay, so basically how we're gonna have it is we're just gonna go right off of what happened, but I do want to make some quick retcons before we get into the story. Retcon 1 is Izuku actually was... I'm going to say that Izuku was originally either... I'm trying to think, hold up. Alright, so basically, simply put, there's two unique factors to this. Izuku was originally a twin, but they merged when they were in the womb. And the reason this happened, and now I know this sounds very convoluted, but this is more of a justification versus what I was going to do later on. What ended up happening is, long story short, the mom, she consumed, like, I don't know, some special fruit, but the fruit had some weird properties, or it had earrings in it. Long story short is, Deku technically had earrings when he was born, and they couldn't remove the earrings, like they were on a certain way or whatever. And this is, Deku basically had always had earrings, so keep that in mind. On top of the factors of quirks and stuff like that. Also, let me retcon the personalities a little bit. Not retcon, but just change it up a little bit. The female side is going to be a little bit more aggressive and a little more dominatrix kind of like vibe. Not completely, but if the reason I wanted to change this is because of special certain one. Tokuma or something, don't bully me, something like that. Y'all probably know what I'm talking about. It's gonna kind of have like a personality like that, but that can actually back it up, actually got more grit. Not asinine to the point, but just more of a boss bitch or a bad bitch or some shit like that, in the sense of. Anyways, now with that out of the way, let's continue where we left off last time on Bosses What Ifs. So the big explosion happened. Everyone's like, oh no, Deku. Everybody's like, why? As Deku seems to be falling. And then everyone's like trying to rush over. And then they realize that isn't Deku, it's the Nomu. And then they all immediately get scared. But before they could get scared, all they hear in a deep voice is flying impact. And then eviscerated. The Nobu is no more. And they just see Deku in his masculine, or his man form. He's just like... and he just literally completely passes out. And like, it's weird because they see Deku like in like this hybrid form where he's not a boy nor a girl. And they're like... And then, Minato, I think that's what his name is. Like, wait, so is he a boy or girl? Let me check. Everyone immediately either tells them to shut up or like all hit them with like some form of their quirk, basically. And so after all of this happens, everyone basically takes no damage at all, just because of like Deku having this very, very, very small portion of future sight. Okay, so it really allows him to utilize this and help out his teammates. So now we would talk about how what would happen next, basically. So after USJ, everyone's healing up and stuff, and after some time, Deku does make a full recovery after his energies and stuff like that was stabilized, because he's never actually gone over his limit or pushed his body past a certain point. Typically, when he goes on power saving mode, he typically doesn't fight it, he just goes with it. But on this rare occasion, he needed to push himself a little bit. So now we would start getting into the cavalry battle. But there's a big issue here. Before all of this happened, Deku is sleeping ever so kindly. And, you know, trying to get a hold of his changing physiology. But there's an issue here. He wakes up, and we're going to say, like, he's hanging around, like, some of his friends or, like, his mutual friend group, right? And they just, like, struggle because of the simple fact that, they're like, wait, Deku, are you okay? And it's like, I don't know. And then, like, you could just kind of see him, like, switching back and forth. He's like, ever since that fight with the Noma, just haven't been able to use my quirk or my powers accordingly, and I don't know what to do. And, like, it's almost like he's, like, in this, like, manic state because his voice keeps changing. It's, like, very spooky, very weird. Because, like, he keeps being in, like, hybrid. Like, he'll have a man face, girl body. Like, it's just, like, this trans type shit, bro. Like, this nigga's struggling in 4K, bro. And so eventually, they all, like, let's just say the class is out hanging out or something. Like, Azawa, like, awarded them just because of how good they did or some shit, like, out of character. And so they're all talking, laughing, enjoying themselves. But the main issue here is everyone hears this. And everyone's like, what was that? And everyone looks at Deku. As he looks down at his hands. And he holds his earrings, and then you just hear a screech, a blood curdling screech, just, and then it happens. Deku defuses, and behold, Deku and Deku, or we can say Zuko for the girl, and then they look at each other. Everyone is flastered, but before anyone can realize anything, a massive, they actually have to step out of the building. They actually do it in sync because they realize what was about to happen. They jump out of the building, and then they both just, like, roar and, like, energy because, like, a mass amount of power just went to both of them. Because the issue was they were technically originally siblings. Like, it's this complicated shit that don't make sense, that never get explained in stories. But since I'm making the story, I'll make it make sense without making it make sense. Let me make that make sense. So, what happened, right, was somehow the mom, Deku's mom, ate a fruit, but the fruit was a special fruit, only because it had Patara earrings. But it only works in a certain way, right? Long story short, earrings got on the kid somehow, and when she ate it, kid came out with the earrings. When the kid was being born, it had earrings on them. Both of them. They fused and they became one person or one being. It's almost like a fusion, but at birth, but before you even come out of the womb. So then, with also the additional quirk factors, you follow me here? I know somebody just said no. It made it to where they became a whole different entity or person altogether. So with this being said, now that they're released from this and they're able to be their own individuals, their whole essence, their whole personality kicks into high gear, and then they just, and boom, you get Izuku and Deku looking at each other. And before they say anything, they walk up to each other, which, you know, the Deku's just towering over Izuku like, so what was that shit you was talking? Fun fact, when I made that retcon, there's also some other stuff we could talk about. The other one was always leaving passive-aggressive type of comments and shit like that too. So Deku just was like, man, if I ever see you in person, bro, you catching this fade. And it was always like this weird back and forth, the banter, cat dog type shit, but like dog and dog type, like, I don't know, bro. So Deku just looking at Izuku like, what was that shit you was talking about, little mama? And then with the bark back, I don't think I misread, unless you're too fucking stupid to read. Alright, that's enough. Deku takes his stance. She takes her stance, but the irony in it is they actually swapped stances. It's almost like they swapped personalities, but not really. So Izuku is able to she's she's basically physically developed, and her physicality is amazing, and she also has brain lost here. She also technically has unlimited stamina. Wait, let me make sure I don't want to write. She has unlimited stamina, basically, or like energy. Not energy, but like stamina, but she can't produce or make more. So she gets damaged to a certain point. It's almost like she's an android. This is just like a weird quirk without being an actual quirk. I mean the actual word quirk. While the Deku doesn't really have much energy reserves, but he's able to constantly maintain a certain level of energy. Basically, simply chi, he's able to gather energy, which is a new prospect for him, but he's not inherently physically gifted, but he still is very strong by the average person, or like just the average quirk individually. And he also has telekinesis, which originally the female is going to have telekinesis. So you kind of see where the trade-off is here. So they're looking at each other while Deku is just vibing with energy, gathering as much energy as possible, while the other one's like, oh, that's cute. You have to gather energy? And it's like, are you forgetting something? Don't you think I might have gotten it from someone that's pretty weak? And so they basically begin to have like this all-out Big Debo brawl, right? They throwing hands. Good hands, good hands. And it's weird because they know each other's moves, but they don't at the same time. So they're like keeping each other on their toes. They're good hands, good hands, good hands, good hands, good hands. With all this energy that Deku's using, he's just like mass destruction, bro. Like it's almost like that, like All Might type level, but just not just it is there, but it isn't there because he's not trying to destroy the shit. He's just trying to show this bitch who the boss is. And then Izuku's like, man, you think, man, shut your weak ass up, bitch. Nigga, I'm about to show you what these hands can do. Hitting these niggas with like haymakers, bro. She hitting this nigga with grown man hands, bro. She back and forth, back and forth. She hold this nigga in place. No, wait, hold up. Who holds who in place? Hold up. Deku tries to hold her in place, and she's like, none of that. Wait, no, I'm sorry. Reverse that. Izuku, the female. Izuku tries to hold him in place. He's like, man, get that weak shit out of here. He pulls up behind her. Boom, 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 boom. He just started hitting it with all sorts of key-like, bass-like moves. Just stringing this shit along, combo, wombo, happy feet. Deku starts breathing a little hard. I'm kind of tired. He not tired, but he got a little workout in. And she's like, oh, what's wrong? You tired? Shit, I might be, but I'm never not too tired enough to beat on you. He puts his hands together. He's like, man, you remember this move? And she's like, wait, that's that. Yeah, that move we never got. She's like, wait, you trying to destroy the whole city? I don't know, am I? She puts it down, basically. She puts like a defensive stand. She's like, man, please. I'm about to redirect that hole right back at you. Shit, perfect. I need even more power to consume. Wait, you can't absorb energy. Oh, come on. We're the same being. Anything you can do, I can do better. And I guess you could say that vice versa if we're being honest. He cops his hands back and then puts them forward and screams. Final explosion. Izuku taking her stance, putting her hands out, weaving them. Almost like it's she's about to do like the 8 palms, 5 palms type shit. And then just basically grabs all that energy, disperse it, and redirects it. So I say they can do the same thing, but they just have an infinity for right now. I'm not gonna make it too complicated. She redirects the energy and adds onto hers. So they're like having like this big body like beam struggle. And like for everyone that's watching this shit, right? Bro, it's like seeing like 2 fucking gods fight each other. Or like these 2 big menaces just going at it for no reason, bro. And then just eventually all that energy starts getting more and more concentrated. But as they're walking forward, then they just start duking in the center of like this massive energy ball. And then like they just basically end this shit out with like a meme. Both of them get hit with that Hellmaker. And then all that energy just bursts up. Because like they're falling down, still hitting one another. And just just mass amount of energy. Deku falling down to the ground. Izuku, she's too weak. She falls down too. They're both just on the ground. The basically most of the females go to check up on Deku. Most of the dudes check up on Izuku, and they're just like, "What's going on?" And then before they pass out, they both look at each other. Bitch, manless piece of shit. And they basically just both collapse and pass out. And that's where we would leave part 3 of What If Deku had a gender bend quirk. Bye.